Hey guys, this is John Rivera from GamingInstincts.com, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Resident Evil for the Sega Saturn. As you can see, I've once again stepped into the world of survival horror. Good luck. That much I'll need. Alright, so where we last left off, I basically defeated Plant 42, as well as Project Neptune. And now I'm going to make my way back to the mansion where we have a more deadly foe to face, the Hunter Alphas. But first, I'm going to scrounge. There are some herbs here and there that I need to pick up. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up those herbs, stash them, and then make my way to the mansion. So I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm excited about Resident Evil 7. I've been playing through the third update to the beginning hour demo, and oh, radio.
This is Brad. I know you can't answer me, but somehow give me a.
This is Jill.
Brad Vickers.
It's broken.
Yeah, no shit, that's what he said. He specifically said he knows that you can't hear him, or you can't speak to him. Come on, Jill. So I don't know if you guys are excited about Resident Evil 7, but I am. I'm definitely anticipating that game. In fact, I think that that game might be a contender for Game of the Year. But, you know, that's me getting ahead of myself. All I'm saying is that based on what I've seen in the demo with the third update, it's looking like it's going to be probably an instant classic. And the game's name makes way more sense in, like, Resident Evil 7's case than, sorry, I'm a bit under the weather. It makes more sense with Resident Evil 7, calling it Resident Evil 7, than it ever has. I mean, let's think about this. The reason why Resident Evil was called Resident Evil in the US was because they needed a name that was not Biohazard, because they were worried about copyright issues having to do with the name Biohazard. There was a game for the Sega Genesis called Biohazard Battle, and then there was a punk rock band known as Biohazard. So Capcom thought it was a bad idea to call the game Biohazard in North America as well as Europe. That being said, they changed the name to Resident Evil, and the mindset behind that decision was that this game takes place in a mansion, which is a residency, and there's evil in it. Hence the name Resident Evil. But in subsequent sequels, the name makes less and less sense. Especially by the time Resident Evil 4 came out. Like, by the time that came out, or by the time Code Veronica came out. Because at least in Resident Evil 2, it still took place in Raccoon City, and as well as Resident Evil 3 Nemesis also took place within Raccoon City. But Resident Evil Code Veronica does not really, like, it mostly takes place in the laboratory in, like, Antarctica or something like that. There's like, it's a ridiculous plot, I'll admit. It's insane, the story of Code Veronica. It's good, but it's a little, let's just say that they pretty much took Resident Evil to its logical extreme. There's really nothing else they could do logically, plot-wise, without it seeming overly ridiculous. And by the time Resident Evil 4 came out, it was starting to get a little ridiculous. Then when 5 came out, that was the point where it's like, okay, this is officially ridiculous. And then Resident Evil 6 was like, what? But as I understand, that game has its fans. I'm not sure if those fans have ever played another Resident Evil game from the PlayStation 1 era or the fifth gaming generation era, but chances are they haven't. And I make that assumption because a lot of folks love those games for the action elements. And unfortunately, action was something that really took a backseat to the real meat of the game, which was just surviving, solving puzzles. That was the real core of the game. Always has been. Even in Resident Evil 2. Really, the action it plays second fiddle to the puzzle solving and the exploration and the horror, the survival. And that's why in most cases when you're playing Resident Evil or a vintage Resident Evil game, the philosophy of the gameplay is that it's not a philosophy where if you're really good at the game, you'll take no damage and you'll come out of a situation unscathed. It's more a situation where if you play your cards right, you're going to get hurt either way. As to whether or not you're going to take a lot of damage or just a tiny bit of damage, that depends on your proficiency with the gameplay, with the mechanics. And that's oftentimes a hard pill for game players to swallow. That there's a situation that they're put in where there's no guarantee that they'll come out of it unscathed. Right? You would like to think that in any situation you find yourself in a video game, that you were able to get out of it completely untouched. But that's simply not how this game was designed. Now, I know that there are some people who have made it through this game without getting touched once. I really want to see a playthrough of that. No damage. No emulators. I mean, playing on hardware. Because that would be interesting. Because this game was designed in a way where you were supposed to get hurt. You know. You're not supposed to get hurt a lot, because then you die. But, again, like I said, with the design of this game, that all depends on you. And I think it's going to be that way this time around for Resident Evil 7. I think this time around, it's going to be a situation where victory is it's achieved through the smallest of margins. You know. Oh, easy there, buddy. I think you'll constantly be in a situation where you feel either helpless or unsafe, both. You're constantly not at full health. And I think for a lot of people who started Resident Evil with 6 and 5, maybe even 4, I think that might be too hard of a pill to swallow. Way too hard of a pill to swallow. So, I think that's where the dissenting comments for Resident Evil 7 come in, where you see people saying, "Oh, well, it's official. Resident Evil is gone down the shitter." And every time I see a comment like that, it just makes me think that they've never played a Resident Evil game before 4. I think in most cases, people who make those comments, like, comments made by those people are usually in dissent of Resident Evil 7. Because to look at a trailer that clearly shows that, that Resident Evil is going back to survival horror, maybe even ambient survival horror, like Alone in the Dark, to garner such a reaction from that, I think is kind of short-sighted, you know, on the part of those people, you know. And who knows, perhaps there's some element of revisionist history, you know. maybe these folks really aren't aware of how Resident Evil started, let alone how the first few games play. And that usually leads people to say, oh, well, those games don't control as well. Well, no, actually, compared to a lot of other games in 3D of this era, Resident Evil's probably aged better than most. And I know that people don't like character relative movement controls, aka tank controls, but I mean, let's face it, that was the best possible solution for an era, like a game of the era in which people were still struggling to figure out movement in 3D, character player agency in 3D. I mean, let's face it. I love Tomb Raider. It's one of my favorite games of all time, but it's rough nowadays. It hasn't aged well. I mean, I'm sure we can agree on that. Like, there are serious issues with the camera. And there were back then, too. There were some jumps that you had to make where you couldn't even see your character. Because at a certain distance from the wall, when you're, like, really, really close to the wall, your character model completely disappears. Either that or you're looking inside of her chest. And some of the polygons that make up her chest block the view of what you're trying to jump at, what kind of ledge you're trying to reach. And yeah, I don't think the developers really wanted their game to play like that. But at the time, they saw no other solution. There was no other choice but to have it that way. So here we go. So I'm equipping my shotgun because we're going to face off against some Hunter Alphas. I need to load another shell in the chamber. But yeah, I mean, the vintage Resident Evil games were really featuring the best possible solution for not only featuring detailed environments, but also making player agency or control input agency work within a 3D environment. Now, technically, this is a 3D environment, but the polygonal faces are not textured. That's all it is. I mean, if you look at, the science of this game or design of this game is very, very interesting. Because as you can clearly see, there's stuff prohibiting Jill Valentine from walking past the boundaries of the pre-rendered backgrounds right here. These background underlays. And what it is, it's polygons. There are polygons preventing her from actually moving beyond the boundaries of this wall. They're just simply not textured. And since they're not textured, all the detail doesn't have to go into texture mapping walls and floors and other elements of the environment, but all that detail can then go into the polygonal character models that will actually be dynamically texture mapped and rendered in 3D. And also particular objects in the environment that have to be moved that simply can't be done with pre-rendered graphics. So that's the reason why certain objects like the grandfather clock and certain bookshelves that can be moved are rendered in real 3D. They're texture mapped and they're basically the same thing as a character model. But that was, like I said, the best possible solution for an issue that every single developer making a 3D game in the 5th generation of gaming had to face. They had to come up with a solution to this issue. Some people decided to just go all 3D. Some developers decided to go sort of 2.5D like this. And like I said, Capcom's not the only person the only developer to do this. You also have you also have companies like Square. Squaresoft back in the day, they saw that as being the only possible solution in order to bring Final Fantasy into the new age. And they did. They managed to do it. All right, so now we're going to make our way to the guardhouse. But yeah, my point, what I'm trying to get at is these games have aged better than most other games of the generation. There's no denying or mistaking that. You look at other games that did full 3D, like Crash Bandicoot. Look at Crash Bandicoot. That took away control of the camera altogether. You had no control over the camera. If you want to see a great example of how many developers failed in designing a fully 3D game in the 5th generation, look at ODT, Escape or Die Trying by Psygnosis. ODT, Escape or Die Trying is a fully 3D action adventure game with some RPG elements, and it doesn't work so well. And the reason why is because the actual control agency just does not work in practice. The camera's out of control. Aiming is a chore that never yields the proper results that you're looking for. And here's a Hunter Alpha that I have to kill. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Nope. All right, wasted a shell. That's a bummer. Oh well. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Not because it's good, but because it's a good example of how so many games that tried to do what Tomb Raider and Resident Evil and Crash Bandicoot achieved through their own methods. It's great to see how it failed amidst all of that stuff. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I feel like I wasted another shell there, but I couldn't tell. All right. Whoa. Oh, okay. You're dead now. You're the dead now, dog. All right, so that was a note right there from Barry Burton saying that he stored some stuff in the storage room or whatever this room is. Yeah, it is the storage room. Yeah. So he hooked me up with some first aid spray, some acid rounds. I'm pretty sure that's what those are. And some shotgun shells. Excellent. I think what's interesting more than just the implementation of control agency in the vintage Resident Evil games or the circumventing of the limitations of the hardware with the vintage RE games, I think more importantly than any of those elements is how the vintage RE games were able to ride that fine line between horror and humor. You look at this game, the humor is more a result of poor execution. Some of this humor was not intentional. In fact, I dare say that a lot of it wasn't. The voice acting is definitely to blame for that. Some of the animations during the cutscenes, in conjunction with the dialogue, adds to this sort of uncanny valley effect. Characters just randomly like gesture, and they have the mitten hands of the 90s 3D era games, and it leads actually, wait, what am I doing? I'm gonna save my game right here, and then I'm gonna move on. There we go. So you have the dramatic, overly emphasized movements with the animations in conjunction with the cornball dialogue. It yielded undesirable results, of course. And they were undesirable results. They weren't intended to come out and yield such a such a final mess. Because it is kind of a mess. I mean, this game, you see that it's a mess because of the inconsistency. There are some elements that just kind of clash with each other. When you look at the introduction, you see the live motion actors and whatnot, and that's cool if you wanted to mix some of that stuff in there. Plenty of games have done that, not just Resident Evil, but also the Command and Conquer games. Mega Race has done that, which Mega Race is one of my favorite games of all time. At some point, I would love to do a Let's Play of that. Thanks, Barry. The problem with that is that this game has an inconsistency between the cutscenes. You would think that they were going to make live motion cutscenes for every section of cutscene that they needed. Any cutscenes in the game you would expect would be live motion, full motion video, correct? Well, that's simply not the case with this game. Some sequences actually use CG. 3, 4. There we go. Oh, goodness gracious. Are you serious? Alright. Let me grab this key. Not that way, Jill. Now, it was hard to tell at the time what the budget of this game was, or the production, I guess, the emphasis on production quality in this game going in. I mean, we knew it was cheesy back then, but we had no idea that it was a result of a low-budget production. In fact, in interviews, Shinji Mikami said that he did not have the money to get married until Resident Evil 2 shipped. That's how low budget these games were. And finally, when they worked on Resident Evil 2, they were given more resources, and they were allowed to scrap an entire version of Resident Evil 2 to start again from scratch. I mean, that's pretty insane. That doesn't happen very often. There we go, mansion key. Let's check. Nothing important. Oh, but what's this? A carving of a helmet. Nice. Helmet key. So there was a charm to the first Resident Evil, and also the second one. The second one was when things got a little more serious. Like, the franchise, or the idea of survival horror, was taken a little more seriously. Because after that first game, people were, I'm assuming taken aback like I was when I first played it. I mean, this wasn't necessarily something new. I had played, other survival horror games like Alone in the Dark, which also had a sequel, which was not as scary as the first one. The Alone in the Dark series definitely went the ways that Resident Evil would eventually go, but it went in that direction a lot sooner than the RE series. So unfortunately, that game series kind of it peaked way too early. That first game is just amazing, and it's also very heavily inspired by Lovecraftian mythos. So the problem with that series, Alone in the Dark, is that it peaked way too early. But with Resident Evil... Wait, what? Oh, no. I was trying to check the code. I think the issue with Resident Evil was... Actually, let's put it this way. My point to the descent, the slow, slippery descent of Resident Evil, I think started with 4. Actually, no, it didn't start with 4. It actually started with the sales numbers of Resident Evil, the remake for the GameCube, as well as Resident Evil 0, again, for the GameCube. I think the commercial failure of those games, and it's not that they were absolute failures. Critically speaking, those games are actually really good. Even Resident Evil 0. I think Resident Evil 0 is a fine game. I don't think it deserved the hate that it got. And Resident Evil Remake was critically acclaimed as being an amazing redo of the original. I mean, think about that. That was a generation of difference. One generation of hardware difference. And that was the end result. So you look at this, and then you look at the remake, and it's like, wow. Very impressive stuff. Unfortunately, the sales figures for that didn't bear the same fruit as the critical reception. And I missed something again. I missed that researcher's note. And it was because of the lackluster sales of the remake as well as 0 that Capcom pretty much gave itself a swift kick in the ass and said to itself, Resident Evil 4 needs to do 2 things. It needs to go multi-platform, and it needs to sell a lot. Or else. Because around the same time, they had come out with Dino Crisis 3, or they would later come out with Dino Crisis 3. Dino Crisis 3 pretty much destroyed the entire franchise. Like, I cannot think of another game that has so swiftly shut the door on a franchise as Dino Crisis 3. Now, people were worried in Capcom that Resident Evil 4 was going to do, the same thing to RE as Dino Crisis 3 did to Dino Crisis. Think about it. When's the last time you ever heard of Regina and Dino Crisis? Never. And even though Nintendo and Capcom had a deal where it was an exclusivity deal, where they had 5 original games that were going to show up only on the GameCube, which they included PN03. Oh goodness gracious! My memory escapes me on which games are actually part of the Capcom 5, but one of them was PN03, or product number 3, or it's just product number 3. And the 5 games they just didn't bear out the numbers that Capcom nor Nintendo were looking for. So Capcom especially, because they were a third-party developer and publisher. And I seriously feel that the Capcom Nintendo exclusivity deal really, really hurt Capcom. I mean, they don't really talk about it, but clearly some shit went down behind closed doors between Nintendo and Capcom, because even though Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube says only for the GameCube on the label art, it was like it wasn't really that much farther after, or that much longer after the release of the GameCube version, that the PS2 version came out. I want to say that they came out side by side, but I could be wrong about that, and I'll safely say that they at least came out months between each other, even though it was supposed to be only for the GameCube. So basically, Resident Evil the remake and Zero were basically the test beds for. They were testing the waters to see how viable of a plan this was. That's what I think was going on. And I think Capcom was really working hard towards being successful on the GameCube. But I think the problem with the GameCube was that Nintendo just didn't know what they had. They had no idea what the GameCube was, which is why they had two versions of it at first. They had the purple version for kids and the black version for adults. Yeah, so, I mean, basically Nintendo was kind of going down a bit, and with the Capcom 5 deal and the Resident Evil exclusivity deal, they were definitely taking Capcom down with them, and it's kind of unfair. And I think Capcom felt the same way, and that's why they must have talked behind closed doors, because, like I said, Resident Evil 4 became a multi-platform title. But yeah, those two factors, Resident Evil 4's existence in its final form, and the commercial failures of Resident Evil Remake for the GameCube, as well as RE0 for the GameCube. Those are the three reasons why Resident Evil 4, and in turn the franchise, took the direction that it did. It simply would not have gone in that direction had the remake been a success. They would have stuck with their original formula. And can you imagine how it would have looked had they stuck with it? It would have been amazing. Piss off. Oh yeah, that's right. I can't use this alone. Oh my goodness. Cancel. Those things are terrifying. Alright, just gonna store my items in this container. Let's see. Let's see, should I face the snake now? Maybe I should. Yeah, let's do it. Actually, let me get the Doom book real quick. I'm going to get the Doom book, then I'm going to get the Magnum rounds, and then double back, store the stuff in the universal item storage container, and then I'll go upstairs to face off with the snake. believe that... Let me see. I believe those double doors lead down to the hallway that has no music in it and no monsters in it. And I think a hunter comes out from one of the corners. Sorry about touching the pop filter. You've used the helmet key. Now, I believe there are no monsters in here. Where's the light? There's a switch. Will you push it? Yes. And let's get this. Let's get the Doom book. And then we have to investigate the Doom book because there's something in it. Here's where they kind of messed up with this. And I'm going to say they did mess up because think about it. Every other document that you've received in terms of books, pieces of paper, notes, scrawlings, anything of that sort automatically does not come up to the inventory screen. It doesn't come up here. It actually presents its own screen for reading documents. And then it says, by the way, this item has been filed in your document inventory, not in your regular inventory. So there we go. Eagle medal. But, I mean, your first time playing through the game, you're not really thinking about that. You know, you're thinking about whether or not you're going to survive. Nothing uncommon. All right, now let's face off against that snake. Actually, no, let's not attack it with the shotgun. There's no need to waste shells on something that's just gonna, you know, be a roadblock for whatever. Let's see. Let's deposit this. Jesus. This universal item storage container is starting to get really, really packed. So I'm going to swap... Yeah, I'm going to swap this with my bazooka. Bazooka, let's get some acid rounds in this. And then some explosive rounds, I think, ought to do it. Where are my explosive rounds? Some more. Magnum rounds, acid rounds. Here we go. And let's... There we go. Ready to go. And then when I get a chance, I'll grab that map. I need to swap an item, or at least an item slot for a lighter. Let's see. Boom. Now I need to remember that I'm at caution, so half health. So if I get bit once, I need to use an herb immediately. But I think I'll be fine. Now, I have an interesting story about this encounter. During the time in which I played this game at first, back in 1996, I went about it completely wrong. Completely wrong. I basically ended up using all of my bazooka ammunition because I didn't realize that it was going to lay low like physically lie low on the ground. And when it was lying low on the ground, all my shots were going over it. So after a while, I'm like, I should probably aim downward. So I did. I ended up killing it. I was just worried that I was going to blow myself up. And then that's when I noticed that, or I made the observation that there's no such thing as splash damage in this game. Absolutely no such thing. But again, if it's your first time playing, how are you supposed to know? So I ended up wasting most of my ammunition, actually all of it. I actually had not one round for my bazooka, and I had no other weapons. And then I ended up checking the hole that appears right here. Then Barry drops down a rope, and then he drops the rope after I climb down. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm stuck. So I never waited for him. Alright, you need to die, dude. This is insane. Yep. Smoke some herb. Okay. Is it dead? Nice. Nice, it's dead. 'Cause it's dead. Alright. So I still have 2 acid rounds to spare. Not bad. Yeah, fuck that snake. Alright, so I'm going to grab... I'm not going to grab this map just yet. I'm going to go through the basement area, and then I'm going to fight some hunters in the hallway in the west wing. And then afterwards, I'll grab that map. The design of this game is just... Even though this is clearly a low-budget game, it's basically a B game. But the design of it is... You know, when you look past the low-budget crap, you know, the crappy dialogue, which is actually better than the Japanese, according to Shinji Mikami. He said that there was actually Japanese dialogue in the game, but they said that it was so horrible that they had to go with the English voice acting and use Japanese subtitles underneath. God bless. I swear. I mean, how much worse could the Japanese dialogue have been? Like, the English voice acting is pretty horrendous. But then, then again, I trump that up to direction. It could also have to do with the fact that those actors were pretty much unknown. They just happened to be living in Japan at the time. Here we go. Let's break out. Where's my Beretta? Here we go. And we're going to break out shotgun. Then we're going to throw in that. Clip. Where's my clip? Yeah, so what I was trying to get at is when you look at the game and you look past all the low budget crap, I mean, you'll find that it's impeccably designed. Everything has a purpose in this game. And there's always a proper way to approach a situation. And what I mean by that is that, I mean, you clearly saw in the hallway that I'm about to backtrack to that the Hunter Alphas were clearly facing certain directions. They weren't really alerted to my presence per se just yet. And the way that I attacked that situation, I believe, was the proper way to do it. Like, that first Hunter Alpha that has its back turned towards you, I believe the best method of attack was just to shoot it in the back 4 times and then go around the corner and quickly, like, because, you know, the Hunter Alpha that was right there. I mean, your best bet, you can't run and hit this door, because this comes up. It says that the doorknob is broken, and all of a sudden, not only are you open to attack, but you're shocked that you have no choice but to face off against this thing. So I thought that the best method of attack was just to take the cheap shot, go through that door, and then enter back through the door, so that way you're facing its back and it's not directly alerted to your presence until you fire off a shot. And there are many situations like that in this game. With the zombies, it's not, if you're being attacked by a bunch of numerous zombies, it's not that imperative to enter a room a certain way, unless they're like right up on your grill right when you enter a room, which it's kind of rare that happens, I think. But with the Hunter Alphas, it's a little more dire, because all it takes is 2 seconds for them to not only be alerted to your presence, but to start going hell-mel on you. It's too dark to see anything. So it's imperative to enter the room the right way. Sometimes you're not going to know that the first time around. You might die once or twice, and I have. I mean, during some of my scrapped episodes, I've died
Oh, do you?
plenty of
Well,
times.
then I'll try to go down using the rope.
Wait. I like how he awkwardly looks up at her. He's like, wait. Like, what the hell is that?
Hey,
Oh no, what's going on?
Now I've done it. Sorry, Jill. Wait.
Wait, he didn't even re-record that line. Anyway,
Barry?
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 Barry? So, right when this happened, I had no ammunition for my bazooka, and I had no other weapons to work with. I was stuck down here, and I thought, oh shit, I have no choice but to persevere. So I turned around immediately and started going towards the gravestone that's behind Jill right now. That left me in a world of hurt. That led to like some very poor events, some unfortunate events. And
Hey! Are you there, Jill? Grab the rope!
and again, your first time through, how would you know to wait for Barry? I thought that it was going to take forever. And I thought also at the time, like even during this point of the game right here, let's listen.
Really careless.
Are you okay, Barry? Maybe you're getting tired.
No, I'm all right. Don't worry. Jill, I found something.
Thank you. I'll take this then.
It's not even a real sentence. But what I was trying to get at is my first time through, I had no idea that was going to happen. I thought, even at that point, that Barry was kind of a shady character. So when that happened, I thought that I initially thought that he had betrayed me. And, with that being said, and that mindset in my head, he's a treacherous bastard. I was like, okay, I need to be careful with him. And that's also what led me to go down here and contend with whatever was down here without any ammunition. What the hell? So, me going down this tunnel for the first time, and I was like 10 years old. No, I was 9, sorry. It was really scary because there was no way for me to defend myself. No! Back up, Jill. Oh, I hate that. See, that is the only real disadvantage of this game. It's stuff like this. Look at this. Like, that's not what you want happening to you during battle. Like, what if he was still alive? And I had to walk forward just a little bit to see if he was still alive. I guess I could just, you know, bring my gun down at my sides, but that takes away my opportunity to strike. You know. I think, personally, as far as I'm concerned, that's the only true disadvantage of this format of gameplay. Hold that. The whole camera angle changing on you during combat just because your polygonal model happens to hit the collision box that engages the change in the camera angle. Yeah, that's a genuine flaw in the game. I will definitely confess to that. I will concede to that point. And it's a point that I always had, you know. Hey, what's up, buddies? Oh! Still going, huh? Definitely new sound effects for this version. Oh! Now that guy over there is clearly a zombie. The guy that's like right by the herbs that I'm grabbing. Oh! Oh! Like you can see right here, he's got, look, I'm going to point down to him. You can clearly see that he's got a shadow, like, he's got a shadow like, sorry about bumping the mic, but he's got a shadow like right there. He also looks like a zombie too. He looks like the scientist zombies. As where these guys look like they could possibly be guards or menial workers. Alright, let's check and see where my ammo's at. There we go. I think so far we haven't been doing too bad with this. I mean, I think I've died a couple times. I could be wrong, but no, so far, you know, it's taken me a little longer than usual to beat a game like this, but again, when it's been so many years, I think it's hard to complain about that. And plus, I'm having so much fun digging through this game. I mean, I wish I could say the same thing about Resident Evil 2. But the thing is, I have a better recollection of that game than I do about this one, because I think I've played Resident Evil 2 way more than the first Resident Evil. Mainly because I think it's a superior game in almost every way. Wow, he died that quickly. Alright, so now I'm going to equip my shotgun. And the reason for that... Oh, wait. Yeah, that's right, that's right. I'm second guessing myself. I need to face off against the 2 hunters in the West Wing hallway. The same hallway where we found Kenneth. With that first zombie. Yeah. Here it is. You unlocked it. Alright, so this is gonna get hairy. I just know it. It's gonna get hairy. Oh! Yep! Oh! Woo! You know what? I'm using this, just in case. You never know. Hey, what's up, buddy? Wow, that turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Whoa, that could have been worse. There's this stupid thing that happens. If you get accosted by 2 hunters and they pretty much bum rush you and they get really, really close to you, shit. It's like one takes a swing at you, you flinch. Of course, you can't do anything while you're flinching. And then... Let's see if there's anything over here. Nothing unusual. Yeah, I gotcha. And while you're flinching... the other hunter takes a chunk out of you. You flinch again, and I mean, it's so easy for those hunters once they're on your ass to, I mean, whittle your health down to pretty much nothing. There's another hunter in here I gotta take care of. I'm pretty sure. One, two, three. Piss off. I'm gonna use it. Fuck it. Ugh! Get out of here. Jeez. Now the Magnum is... Wait here. Let's see if I can get in here. The Magnum is through this door, and no, it's not. It's right over here. Yep, it's here. But we need the red jewel first. That's where the kennel keeper was. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the kitchen area, the dining room, and then we're going to go to the main hall, go up to the second floor, go back to the east wing, and then take care of the hunter in that hallway. By the way, there are 2 hunters up here. They don't show in this room because in this room technically is only showing what's on the first floor. I know technically it visually shows the second floor, but in terms of like the geometric reality of the upper floor, it doesn't exist in that room. That room is technically just first floor, dining room. And that's just how the engine works. I know it sounds weird, but that is how this game is designed. It's a room by room basis. Like, for example, visually, you technically saw the upper floor of the main hall. But in terms of like collision and geometric rendering, in terms of the collision boxes, there's no reality being rendered for the upstairs area until you get up to here. And then adversely, there's no geometric reality for the first floor right now. Like I said, it's interesting, but you know, aside from weirdos like me who love to analyze how games work on a deeper level, who else cares, right? All right, so we got another hunter in here. This is going to be interesting. So, one, two, three. Jesus. I mean, these assholes are relentless. Ugh! That should have killed you. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Oh my god! Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Ugh. That's dumb. All right, folks, just 1 second. I'm actually I'm gonna cut the footage right here. I'm gonna get back to that point, and we're gonna continue on because I feel like that was some stupid shit. So, hold on just a second. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Just a momentary hiccup in the regularly scheduled programming. Here, let's see. I think there's an ink ribbon I've yet to pick up. Hello. So I'm gonna pick up this ink ribbon, and then I'm gonna go down to the storage room, shuffle about some items, and then we're gonna take care of the rest of that basement area. Excuse me. Alright, so we're gonna go this way. Let's see. Let's deposit these green herbs right here. Nope. And I think I'm going to put my shotgun back. Mainly because I don't think there's anything else other than zombies in this area. So, oops. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. So I'm going to go back to the basement. And then I'm going to hit that elevator and take it up to the top floor. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, I think the library is up where the elevator is, where it ascends to the top floor. And then there should be an MO disc there. I might be wrong, but let's see. How much do I... Okay, I've got 4 open slots. Back into the depths. Oh, he's gone. Crazy. Now, if I remember correctly, the zombie in the corner where the elevator is should be... He should be gone. Huh. Let me try something real quick. Because there's supposed to be something that you're able to do that makes that zombie disappear. I'm going to try going through these doors again and then coming back down this way. See if that makes a difference. Because with my first playthrough back in the day, I went back through these doors and went through to that area once again, like right afterward, after I killed all the, or I avoided the Hunter Alphas. He had disappeared. That was weird. Very can't talk. Very suspenseful music here. I love it. Huh. He's still there. Ugh. Oh, come on. I wasn't even touching his model. Play that footage back. I didn't even touch him. Whatever. But yeah, the music is awesome. My first time going through there, and you know, me being unprepared, as I mentioned earlier, it was. It's like it was. The music was chiming for my demise. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Hey, what's up, buddy? Nice. Alright, so he's dead. There's another zombie in here, I'm pretty sure. A battery. Now I can move the elevator in the courtyard. I'll take you. Nice. I think there's got to be another zombie in this room. Let's check this area. Weapon ready. Nice. I think I'm gonna leave those herbs there for the time being. And then when I have a chance, I'm gonna go back and get them. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? Wait, what? Huh. What a diehard. Okay, you're the dead now, dog. This library scared the hell out of me when I was younger. Oh! Nope! Oh! You mother... Piss off. Oh, what? That's BS. God dang. Here, I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna grab one of those herbs and then consume it. Or smoke it. Whatever they do in Resident Evil games. Nice. Good enough. Alright, back into the library. Hopefully there are no more nasty surprises. Scrapbook. Alright, what's in here? Raccoon Times, May 27th, 1998. Animal attack? Woman mutilated. May 20th. Around 10 p.m., a 20-year-old young woman's body was found by a passerby on the left bank of Marble River in the Cider district of Raccoon City. Raccoon police assume it to be a grizzly or other animal's doing because there are teeth marks along her mutilated arms and left foot that show considerable power. Since she was wearing a hiking boot on her remaining foot, it has been determined that she was attacked in the Arkley Mountains and fell into the river. They are hurrying to identify this woman. Raccoon Weekly, June 16th, 1998. Monsters in Arkley Mountains? Some people claim they've seen monsters in the Arkley Mountains. The monsters are supposedly about the same size as large dogs and usually run in a pack as wolves do. This may sound like a group of ordinary wild dogs, but these monsters are surprisingly fierce and hard to hurt. They say these dogs don't bother you unless you wake them, so you smart readers should stay out of the Arkley Mountains for the time being. But if you're looking for adventure, check it out. You want to try? It's crazy. That's crazy. Raccoon Times, July 9th, 1998. Mystery on Arkley Mountains. Mountain road blocked. Due to the successive disasters in the Arkley Mountains, the city authorities have decided to block the road leading to the foothills. At the same time, Raccoon Police intend to begin a search for lost people with the help of STARS team members. Notice that there's no space in between STARS and team. They expect great difficulty because of the vast size of the Arkley Mountains and the primeval forest that covers most of the area. Also, people are still reporting sightings of grotesque monsters in the mountains. Scrapbook has been filed. Let's see. How many inventory slots do I have? 2? Okay. I know there's a puzzle here. Come on. There's a switch. Will you push it? Yes. No. Aha. Most of them are on chemistry. Something has been placed here. Let's see. Most of them are on chemistry. I guess that's it. All chemistry. Aha! A secret passageway. Or a secret chamber. Will you take the MO disc? Hell yes. Is that it? Oh, there's something in this desk. Magnum rounds. There we go. I think I'm going to deposit some stuff in the universal item storage container, and then I'll be back. I think I'll go this way. Alright, I feel like I'm so close to that lab I can taste it. Not that I would want to. Hopefully I can get this done within the next 3 episodes, because I really need to get going on Resident Evil 2. And I might have to skip over Resident Evil 1.5. I might have to leave that as like an extra. So we'll see. I mean, Resident Evil 1.5 shouldn't take really any more than 2 episodes. And the reason being is that it's so easy for you to access everything in the game. And on top of that, I mean, I'm pretty much going to use a debug exploit that allows me to have access to any gun in the game. Any gun that's been coded, like that's been like completely coded. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Because some weapons, if you equip them and try to use them, like through the debug menu or the debug exploit, the game will crash. So gotta be careful about that. Let's see. Let's get those keys. Actually, let's get that ink ribbon upstairs, because I'm pretty sure there is one. So I'm gonna go back to the elevator, go back up. I'm gonna get the ink ribbon and whatever else I can find. Possibly those herbs that were in the other chamber with the 2 zombies. I'll try to be quick about it. Well, sorry about that. Very interesting architecture for a basement. Doesn't seem to make any logical sense. Here we go. Okay, so I think I got everything in that closet. So let's grab this. There's like some green herb, some blue herb. Yep. Aha, there are some zombies in here. Will you take the blue herb? Yes, I will. Let's see. Oh, I got a party over here. I'm not gonna touch that anytime soon. At least I don't think so. And then the ink ribbon, and that'll do it. Because I think I got everything else in the library except for the ink ribbon. Right? Actually, I think it's this way. All right. Yep. Here we go. Let's see what's over here. I'll take the clip. Thank you. And I think that's it. Will you take the ink ribbon? Yes. I can look over the courtyard from here. It's a helicopter port. If I could contact the other members from there. Yeah, maybe. All right, I think I am going to save at some point and pretty much cap this episode. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. Because we are kind of running over an hour, so. I feel like we made some pretty good progress. Sorry about dying earlier. I was not expecting that. I think I forgot that I was in caution condition as opposed to being fine. And I didn't expect the hunter to just take my head off like that, so. All right. Actually, let's go back this way. Dun, dun, dun. So suspenseful for there being no monsters in here, at least anymore. Alrighty. Almost at the safe room. And this is pretty much going to cap it off for this episode. So, next time around, I'm going to finish snooping around the mansion. I'm going to use up both keys. And I'm going to try to get back to the garden and try to dig deeper. I'm trying to get to that umbrella lab, so trying really hard. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of my Let's Play of Resident Evil for the Sega Saturn. Sorry about the poor voicing. I'm a little bit under the weather, like I mentioned earlier. But, and I will be for the next episode, possibly the episode after the second one. Yeah, hopefully I get better soon, and hopefully I get finished with Resident Evil Saturn soon, because I really want to dig into Resident Evil 2. So, anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys have any comments, suggestions, be sure to leave your feedback down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more from Leo and myself at Gaming Instincts, be sure to subscribe to the Gaming Instincts channel by hitting that subscribe button. And be sure to check out Leo's FF15 playthrough. He's doing a hell of a job. I think he accidentally cheesed the whole leveling system, but I think that's a hit against the game. But it seems like he's enjoying it pretty much so far, so I highly recommend checking out that playthrough. And like I said, thank you guys for watching, and this is John Rivera signing off, saying I'll see you next time.